Hi everyone, in this video, you'll learn how to write text that is more readable for everyone and more accessible for people with disabilities. For more resources on readable and accessible text, check out the links below. First thing you need to know about writing simpler text is how to measure it. A common and good measurement of your text readability is the Flesch-Kincaid score. Basically, a generator like this one takes your text and uses an equation that takes into account the total words divided by the total sentences and the total syllables divided by the total words to calculate how easy the text is to understand. A higher score means it's easier to read. This matters because each of these writing tips will help you keep your writing at about a 60 score or higher, which is what you want for a general audience. The first tip to writing more readable text is to use plain words. We can get stuck in the trap that fancy words will make our content sound more professional, but that just isn't the case. Simple words that we actually use in everyday language are easier to understand and will keep your score higher. Here's a paragraph with fancy words. Commence your application by creating an account. If there are questions, utilize the FAQ page, or you can submit inquiries to the admissions team. This sentence's score is a 50.8, which is fairly difficult to read. Now, imagine an entire page of content written like this. It would be difficult for anyone, but especially users with cognitive disabilities to consume. Just by simplifying the words commence, utilize, and inquiries, I can raise my score to a 68.8. Here's the updated sentence. Start your application by creating an account. If there are questions, use the FAQ page, or you can ask the admissions team. The next tip is to use shorter sentences. Using too many subordinate clauses and conjunctions can result in sentences like this. After you've started your application, save it to make sure you don't lose any progress. And remember to come back and finish it in a week or you'll lose all your information, which would result in having to restart the application. By using simpler sentence structures, this becomes multiple sentences that are easier to read. After you've started your application, save it to make sure you don't lose any progress. Remember, the application must be finished in a week or you'll lose your information. If it isn't finished within a week, you'll need to restart the application. Just by breaking it up into more sentences, the score went from 38.8 to 57, which will make it easier for everyone to read. The next tip is to kill the fluff. This just means getting rid of those words that don't need to be there or saying it in 4 words instead of 7. Let's take our text from before. After you've started your application, save it to make sure you don't lose any progress. Remember, the application must be finished in a week or you'll lose all your information. If it isn't finished within a week, you'll need to restart the application. I could say the same thing in a lot less words, which could sound like this. Once you start the application, save it often to avoid losing progress. If the application isn't submitted within a week, you'll need to restart it. Now, this actually didn't affect my reading score too much, but when we only write the words our users need to get the message, it will make it easier for everyone to read. One last thing with killing the fluff. Common filler words to get rid of are very, rather, that, in order to, really, basically, more, and just. Looking out for these words takes this sentence, just starting the application won't save your progress. In order to save it, select the Save button that's blue at the bottom, and turns it into, starting the application won't save your progress. To save it, select the blue Save button at the bottom. The next tip is to write in active voice opposed to passive voice. Active voice communicates ideas clearly and directly, while passive voice is typically longer and not as direct. Active voice is when the subject of the sentence performs the verb. For example, Tyler completed the application. Tyler is the subject and completed is the verb. Tyler is the one that performed the verb. He is the one that completed the application. Since Tyler, the subject, performs the verb, the sentence is an active voice. The passive voice version of this sentence would sound like this. The application was completed by Tyler. In this case, the grammatical subject is the application, and the entire verb is was completed. Now, the application didn't complete itself, or Tyler. It isn't performing the verb. Instead, it is receiving it. Because the application is receiving the verb was completed, it is in passive voice. To fix passive voice, you need to pinpoint the subject of the sentence and then rewrite it so the subject performs the verb. For example, let's find what the subject should be for this passive voice sentence. The resume was written for an assignment, but Sheila also used it for her application. This sentence is passive because the resume is receiving the verb was written, not performing it. So, to fix it, we need to identify the subject that did the writing. The subject who wrote the resume is Sheila. So, to change the sentence to be active voice, we would say, Sheila wrote the resume for an assignment, but she also used it for her application. Now, writing in active voice all the time isn't a hard and fast rule. There are times writing in passive voice works well. To learn more about passive voice and active voice, check out the resources linked below. The last tip is to edit your text. All these tips, using plain language, writing short sentences, killing the fluff, and using active voice, all happen because of editing. It takes reading the text aloud and rewriting it as you notice opportunities. With these tips, you are ready to write text that's more readable for everyone. For more, check out our video, Tips for Formatting More Readable and Accessible Text.